Well, that didn't work out the way I thought it would, folks. For those of you watching live, I'm going to have to I'll look at that. So welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hedin, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. With me this week is the amazing Danny Sherman, formerly of Megs Installations, and we will get into that. But I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in live. If you're in the Facebook group, you can always watch the videos now over on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe, click the little bell, right? Let's do the whole like YouTube pitch thing. You can find us on your favorite streaming app, and we want to make sure that we are your source for business education within the flooring industry. Hand skills are readily available. I want to make sure that you're able to do the work behind the scenes, in the office, on the books, getting those systems and processes in place. Let's move your business forward and make it as easy on you as possible. That being said, let's dive into this week's topic. Danny, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me again. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Oh, you're welcome.
I am Danny Sherman, and I work for Wolf Tools and sell demo machines and grinding machines. Been in the industry for over 25 years. Originally, as you know, ran an installation house for many years and ended up on this side of the world, which I absolutely love. I get to travel around and meet new installers, talk work, talk tools, talk different type of installations, and do what I love to do.
Well, so this is kind of a funny conversation because the last time I had you on, we talked about how you were able to go from like this one-man show to being this crew leader and like running this larger business. And that's obviously you were successful at it. You did very well. But I think there was hesitation in you when I originally asked you to do that. And so were you wrestling with the idea of shutting down Megs Installations at that time already?
Yes and no. I started the company in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
I lied, 1996. And I ran it for 25 years. In that time, we started the demolition company. So we were running two companies.
Mm-hmm.
I was also Atlanta chapter president for CFI, doing trainings. So I had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
I loved what I did, but there was definitely a difference from when I started 25 years ago to the point of where I was just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off doing stuff yourself and having one or two crews with you, I consider myself mom and pop.
Yes.
And to me, that was very important because I was involved, people knew me, I knew everything that was going on, etc. The funny thing is, when you grow to a certain point, you kind of lose, even though you still in your mind think you're mom and pop, but you lose some of the control because you're not on every job. And at that point, you're depending on others to make you look good.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your name, keep your reputation. And that was very important to me. So I kind of lost some of that at the end, which bothered me. And I think that was part of the reason I wanted to do something different. Even though all my guys represented me very well. I mean, you couldn't work for me unless you went and got certified in whatever field you were, whether it was ceramic or wood or carpet. Mm-hmm. You had to know what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And not just one class and you're done. You had to, continue education.
Yeah.
It's very important, especially today. But then I was also Ray Knapp, since I bought a Bronco from them in 2006. And he's been after me to come sell tools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a flooring guy, we all love tools. Any kind of tools is something cool. I mean, that's what we did. More better. Whether we used them or not, more the better. And I guess as the years were going by and I thought about it more, I was like, you know what? I kind of want a little bit of a change, but I want to stay in our industry. I want to stay involved. And my son-in-law, he was going to take over the business, and then COVID hit, and we just looked at each other and said, okay, you know what? We want to try something different. We want to stay in the industry. I want to do what I want to do, and so we moved on. Very hard at first,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what? I regret it. I love doing what I do now. I'm with Wolf Tools, and I travel all over the Southeast, either seeing installers I already know or meeting new installers. And, we're talking about what we both love. And at the same time, I'm showing the tools that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Some people think they're always going to be on their knees, but it's up to you. If you want to do something different, don't hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
Still do what you believe.
Well, yeah, and that's where I want to dig in a little bit. Is we had a conversation back in late January. It was probably February by then because it was surfaces, and I think there was only January 31st, so probably very early February. So we were talking at the show, and even I'm like on this fence, and so I mean this podcast is
Right.
It's pretty much my journal. Like, this is my journey through the flooring industry and what I'm trying to build and do. And I've said that, I want to build this large retail business and do all this stuff. But I won't lie. Like, even I'm kind of in this thing where now I've built Floor Academy up to where it feels like it's almost a full-time job in and of itself. And it's pulling me one direction and this installation's pulling me another direction. But the installations pay the bills, and could Floor Academy,
Right.
maybe if I put some more effort into it, like, what do I do? Where do I go? And like, I've been having this struggle, and we started talking. You're like, man, you just got to do what you're passionate about. And I wonder how many people force themselves through a situation and they just show up and they're miserable every day. And so I really want to dig into like what it was like to finally come to this decision, this conclusion that what's best for me is to step away from what I built and move on in this other direction to where I can still help people. Like I'm still doing something I love, and I'm going to be in the industry I want to be in. So where did it start? Where was the conversations? Because I know, I think what you said was you ultimately sold it to the lady that was managing the office for you, but you said your son-in-law or your son?
Well, my son-in-law, he came into the business pretty much because I needed him, not because he wanted to get into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I needed help. He was very successful before he came to help me, and he jumped right in, and he also went and met Jim Walker and did some trainings with him. So he jumped right in. I didn't. I guess he got in probably about 2-3 years before COVID hit.
Okay.
And I think when COVID hit, I mean, he had some big projects that would make someone's year, salary-wise, that kept getting pushed off. And I think with us not being able to do what we do, what we should be doing, guys were not able to work because of COVID at the time, because residential didn't put them in their house. The churches or some of these big commercial jobs that we were doing, they locked everything down. So I think for us, it was almost a blessing in disguise, if you will. We had the decisions that A, was he going to take over? B, was I going to retire and walk away? You mentioned my secretary. I didn't have to sell it to her. What we did with her is she started her own company.
Okay.
Most of my installers went with her. And I helped her, you know, in terms of getting started, getting measurements, seeing customers, uh, introducing my customers to her husband, who was now doing the measurements and, you know, all the going out and seeing all the jobs and
Mm-hmm.
estimating and doing all that. So kind of trained him because she was with me over 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nobody else I want to trust to carry on that reputation, even though it wasn't Meg's anymore, because truthfully, I wouldn't sell my name.
Okay.
Because Meg still is me. Um, it just meant too much to me to sell my name. And and I don't know what I'm going to do later on. Who knows? Maybe something changed that I want to do it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's my reputation.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it again because I found it something that I really love. But at that time, I didn't know. I didn't know if I was getting out for the right reason or the wrong reason. And you never know until you do it. You know, I know that, like I was saying, I needed some change at that point after 25 years and everything's slowing down and my guys not being able to, you know, work every day like they were.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of hit me like I wasn't taking care of my guys. And most of my guys have been with me since they got into the industry, or their fathers or their uncles worked for me. So they've been with me for years. So not being able to see them be their best, it kind of hit home.
Okay.
And when I couldn't help them provide for them, I got to provide for me too. And I was doing both tool sales for a tailor at that time and running my company
Mm-hmm.
and running the demolition company. So I my hands in so many things that I had to make a decision what's going to be best for me and my family
Mm-hmm.
and my happiness. You know, with the installation side at that point being slow, I thought I'd have more of a shot at tools and being able to stay in my industry. It also allowed me to do what I do with CFI or NFIC or whatever it is that
Yeah.
I'm involved with. But you know, it's it took a minute. It definitely took a minute. Looking back, would I have done it sooner than later? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stayed the direction that I should have. You know, if I was going to walk away from and make a decision to walk away from the company, I would have done it in 2007, 2008 when the recession hit and half of my friends went out of business.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled. I made it work. And fortunately, it was a good thing because I ended up a lot longer than I wanted to. You know, 25 years was a long time. And
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people keep something going like that. But for me, all my kids grew up. There was nobody else home. It's just myself and my fiance
Mm-hmm.
and the fur baby. And we also wanted to be able to travel more and get out of the city life and get some property and build our own home. And that's what I'm doing. If I had my company, I wouldn't have been able to move 2 hours away from the city and be out in the country because I'd have to be there all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, age, I think I would prove to myself that, you know, I had a lot of accomplishments for me, you know, that goals that I wanted to meet. And it was time for me to take it a little bit easier, not have the headaches, not have to depend on others, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was time. You know, a lot of people I know are scared to walk away from what they built
Yes.
or stay there just because they think, and that's the key word, that they don't have other choices out there. There are choices, and you got to make the choice that's going to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get it, and some people learn the hard way, and bless you. And it is what it is. It's up to the individual, I guess.
Well, I think what it is, right, is you built this company up, you built this brand, and you brought people in, and you promised them a way to provide for their families, and now it's this machine, right? Like, oh, we're in this. Like, we've been doing this 25 years now. I got to keep going. Like, I told them I would take care of them, but at the same time, as you said, your happiness matters. Your goals in life have changed.
Absolutely.
You want to do other things. And so while that at one time was what you wanted to do, you've changed. You want to move on. You want to do some different things and experience life differently. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So where did that conversation start? Did it start with your fiance, or did it start by even having a conversation with the guys and the crews first and saying like, hey, I'm doing some serious thinking? Or was it start at home and then it worked its way out from there?
It started at home. My fiance and my kids knew that I've always wanted to get out and be on property and, travel and do things like that. But I was limited, again, because, in the flooring industry, especially if you're doing a lot of commercial or a lot of demolition, it can be a 7-day-a-week job. And I can't always ask other people to be there on a Saturday or a Sunday if I'm not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's just being there to demo machine or to do something like that, I got to make an appearance as well. Guys get paid well, but you're only as good as your guys when you depend on them.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to see you, but they do as well. So, my guys were more than just my guys. They were family to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even today, they'll still come out. They'll drive 2 hours just to come out here and hang out with me. That's the kind of guys I had. Which was also important that I help them make sure they can continue to work, which is why my secretary did what she was doing. I say my secretary, she was the office manager.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give them, she ran the company. Let's just say it how it is. She ran the company and I wrote the checks.
Mm-hmm.
But it started at home. My kids, my fiance, they all knew what I wanted. My fiance wanted to do it as well. And yes, I did take it to my guys. And we had conversations. When COVID was going on, we had conversations where I said, guys, what do you want to do? You want to try to make it work? You want to, close shop and, do what you guys can do and we'll help you get work elsewhere? And they said, no, we're staying as long as you're staying. So that went on for several months when COVID started, and actually went on for probably a good year. And it just got to the point where it was making it easier for me to close without selling my name. And at that point, I bought the property and went full-time in tools.
But were there any objections along the way? Did anybody tell you, Danny, you can't do that? You've told these people you're doing this. You were in it to win it. Like, did anybody object, or did anybody was there support?
My installers, of course, they didn't want me to close at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where I understood. Other than that, my family, most of my friends, everybody's been supportive. Be happy. You had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
You started from nothing and created a nice business. Provided for many people. So no, I mean, even in the CFI and the NFICs or the Flooring Installers of America or any of those people, the groups that we I think I had a lot of support. There might have been one or two people that gave me a little grief, but it's not up to them. My happiness is up to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to realize. Again, I have no regrets. It might have been a little bit emotional, if you will, when it happened,
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
I have no regrets.
Well, and I think,
No
look,
regrets. And fear.
okay, yeah, fair. I mean, just knowing you, I know you're not.
I mean, I
You're.
was 53 years old.
Mm-hmm. So okay, let me jump in. So I know, knowing you, you don't have a huge ego. Like you know what you know, and you're very skilled, but there's no like much, there's no machismo behind it, right? Like you're gonna go be very confident where you're at, and so typically
Correct.
speaking, entrepreneurs, I think, get very into, I built this thing. Like it's that is their identity. It defined this business, this thing. It defines them, and there is like an ego behind it of not being able to let it go. And so, what you're talking about is coming at this from such a healthy mental standpoint of saying, just because it's good doesn't mean it's good for me. And I don't know how many people can look at their
Perfect.
company and do that and let it go and say, I'm good. I feel great about what I've done. I've run it, and I'm just gonna let it fade away. And it's not that it's gone.
Yep.
People remember it, but I've moved on, and I'm gonna move into into a new chapter and start building something else. And whether that's
Absolutely.
a solid relationship with your fiance where you travel a little bit less, even though you still travel a lot, but you have more hours at home
And she gets to
probably.
go with me now.
Okay.
Yep.
That's key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, like I was saying, 53 years old, I had to write resume ever. So that was pretty challenging for me. And, that put a little fear into you. But, when I wrote my resume for Wolf, it was a challenge. But when I looked at the resume, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I did that,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it worked. I am. They hired me,
Mm-hmm.
but, I never had a writer,
Yeah.
which was, I've always been self-employed. So that was also, again, when I say fear, that was one of my fears. I'm not used to somebody telling me what to do, because I was always the boss.
Yeah.
Yes, I would talk to somebody, get advice, but I made the final decision. Going to work for somebody, you don't have that anymore, and you have to be able to accept that you're not top of the ladder anymore. Now you're down a step. So you have to be willing to make that sacrifice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, fortunately, I'm outside sales. So yes, I have to report to my boss. Yes, he has the final word, but he gives me the ability to be my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
And when Dickerson and I talked so many times before I took this job, and he helped me get this job. That was one of my concerns. What am I getting into?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a company that's about the people, or is it just a company? And over, he kept saying, no, man, this is a big family, as he calls it, with a wolf pack. So it's pretty cool. And the family I'm in is pretty awesome. The guys I work with, and I don't feel like I'm working for somebody. I feel like I'm working with somebody. So it's a big difference. And
Yes.
I don't know if everybody's going to get that luck that I got, but yeah, no, it was definitely the right choice for me, mentally, physically, emotionally. Yes, it was tough to close it, but I did what I set out to do, and I accomplished it. And my next step, my next chapter.
That's a big statement right there, though. I set out to do what I wanted to do, and I did it. Once again, this entrepreneurial mindset. You get stuck in. Well, I set a goal, I hit it. Now I got to hit another goal and another goal and another goal, and the bar, it keeps moving. It's never enough. So once again, this ego, like it's non-existent for you. Well, exactly. But the personality type that's going to run a company and drive it forward generally won't ever accept something as enough. And here you are, just being happy Danny, like, well, I did it. Well, no, but I've never seen you not smile, and like you're calm, cool, collected every time I've ever seen you. Like it's like you're never under, and not that you weren't experiencing pressure, but like you have, I would love to come hang out with you because you have a great energy about you to where you can bring someone down and probably talk a lot of people off the ledge and get them where they need to be and seeing what they need to see. That. So that's to not get caught up in the machine of it, the American culture of it, and step back and be, I'm just going to go live on my land, which you have a beautiful plot of land. I don't know how you got that semi trailer to drive in there the one day and drop a bunch of stuff off. I'm surprised he got out, but you know, it's
both. I was shocked when he showed up.
So
where does called and said, "Hey Danny, can you bring a couple boxes to convention for me?" I said, "Sure, have them delivered." No idea he was sending a 18-wheeler.
Yeah, that was, hey, they made it happen. That's great. You didn't have to meet him at the end of the road or anything. Where does this...
That's right.
Working for somebody now, you started talking about, you wanted to have the right culture fit. You wanted to feel as if you were part of a family, not just a cog in this bigger system, right. But you've also been given autonomy to kind of act on your own, do what's in the best interest of the company, and so you feel like you're your boss. How did you know that going into Wolf? Had you already kind of had these discussions and seen the company and done that, or were you researching multiple companies as you were making this decision of like, I really want to do this full time and only have this be my thing?
It's funny. Over the last, we'll call it the last year and a half, when people found out about Megs closing and, I was doing other things, I had more job offers, and it's not a brag. It was actually, what's the word I'm looking for?
It was got to be humbling. I mean, you built a great name and reputation.
It made me feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud of myself, I guess I'll say. I guess I never realized the impact, I guess you could say, that I had put out there, and the recognition I was getting by getting these offers was awesome. I mean, again, I wasn't expecting it. Some of them I would have had to move. Some of them were doing technical, and I'm not somebody who's going to sit in an office or a square room very long. But it was it was cool, to hear all offers coming to me. I didn't expect them.
Mm-hmm.
But with Wolf, again, being out there, I know several of the reps that I've seen at shows and things like that. So I knew some of the guys already. Then my relationship with Corey, and Corey always telling me, all the pros about the company he worked for. It just came together. I think the whole reason I kept saying no to the other companies is because in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to go to Wolf.
Okay.
Great reputation, good tools, and the people that I knew that were already working there, they were great guys. So, yeah, I mean, it's what I wanted.
Did the culture you built within Megs affect the culture you were looking for in another company?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. Again, you know, my company was run like a family business. Everybody there was family, and that's what I liked being part of. You know, going to Wolf, I think I've joined another family. You know, I feel like I was adopted into a family that accepted me with open arms. You know, the first time I met everybody was at work. The rest of the group was at World of Concrete, and you would think I knew these guys for years. You know, of course, I knew a lot of them because of social media, but you know, just like when we all met for the first time, the FIA fan met. It was like we all knew each other. So that's what I got when I went to Wolf. It was a family that already existed. So it was definitely a plus.
Okay. So I mean, you had, you knew what you were looking for, right? You'd gone, you've done it, you offered it to people, and the decision was never made lightly. Obviously, it wasn't just like made on a whim, like I'm done and we're moving on and doing it. So I'm going to interrupt us, and then I want to get into kind of how you. We touched on how you transitioned over to your office manager taking over, but I want to dig into that a little bit and why you did it that way and whatnot. But let me interrupt this just real quick. The International Surface Event, the annual flooring, stone, and tile sourcing experience in Las Vegas, has a unique experience for the industry. Introducing the Surfaces Show Home, Calibu Vineyard by Jennifer Farrell. Surfaces is working with celebrity design and TV host Jennifer Farrell to develop a 7,300 square foot show home in California. The home is under construction, but due to technology from Visualizer Plus, the industry can experience virtual room reveals each month. Then plan to view Calibu Vineyard summer 2022 in person or virtually during the home tours. Visit www.calibuvineyard.com now to sign up and join the journey. Also, just having returned from coverings, in the background, it's a little blurry. Here, we'll try and, if you're watching live, no, wrong way. Okay, there we go. There is a Better Tools 36-inch tile cutter sitting on my dresser there. We're going to give that away at the end of the month. I got to work out the details with Better Tools, but there it is. I don't have it all figured out. I was by the booth and they were like, "Hey, you want this?" And I was like, I don't install tile, but we can give it away on the show. So now I'm going to talk with Better Tools Emily's, both of them. They are lovely ladies, and we will figure out what we're going to do with this and how you can win it. But it looks like it's a pretty solid piece of equipment, and we'll learn some more about it. So yeah, I know you can look up just Better Tools online. Go check out their 36-inch tile cutter if you want to know more about it. Danny, you didn't sell the business. Better tools for better people. Better tools for better installations. Probably not better people. Maybe they make you better. Better tools for making you a better person and offering better installations.
They're good people. I'll say that.
I like them very much. They were a blast to interact with at the show. And then the boss man was there too, and him and I believe it was his wife. I could be wrong. They were lovely. You didn't sell it. You wanted to keep your name. You wanted you that was yours. You built it. You owned it. You didn't want someone else to take that. And if there's any ego involved here, maybe that's it. But I don't blame you. I think that's something special. But there's more to it being Megs Installations than that's not a random name. If I'm not mistaken, it's your daughter, is it not?
That is correct.
So there's meaning behind that. It's not about it's not just ABC Flooring Company. There was a lot more into it.
Correct.
So why? Let's work
and
through
it's
like.
funny, there's
Sorry, let's work through like why not sell, right? Let's dig a little deeper into what this name actually meant to you and why you were like, hey, this is my brand and maybe I want it back one day. But then why the office manager as opposed to someone else, and then being able to, help her build it up.
Well, the name first off is not only my oldest daughter, Megan, but it's also my reputation. Whether it's through social media, whether it's through one of the organizations that we're part of. I can go when I was in Montana doing a show. Somebody said, "Are you Megs?" Montana from Georgia, that's a big difference. So Megs is important to me because people not only know me as Danny, but they know me as Megs. And that was important to me, and especially staying in the industry, doing what I do as a salesman, I want people to understand that I'm actually an installer first. I'm not just here selling tools, and I'm going to recommend a tool that's going to work for you, not one that I'm just trying to sell you because I'm a salesman. So knowing the name and the background and where I came from is important in this business because they're going to believe in you more. And there's tools by a lot of manufacturers that I just won't push because I won't use them. I don't believe in them. So I'm going to tell you straight as an installer first. And that's important. And Megs Installation, which is, again, my daughter, but my reputation and my name. I built that name. So there's not a value that I would sell it for because it's too important to me. In terms of Jacqueline, who started her company, Jacqueline was with me for over 18 years. And again, she was a family, and she's earned it. And, when we decided that's what we were going to do is close the business, and what are you going to do? She goes, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you take over? All my customers deal with you every day. Start your own company. Let's talk to the installers. Make sure they're good with it. You take the guys with you.
Okay.
And we did. It worked for her. It worked for them, the installers. It worked for my customers because they knew, and also when you sell a business, if you don't have contracts per se that are going to hold you to that contract, a lot of people are dealing with a big company because of me personally being involved. It was me they trusted. So if I step out of the picture, where are they going to have that trust if I'm not there? Who do they depend on?
Okay.
So by having Jacqueline, my customers already depended on and trusted because of the relationships they built together and the relationship that Jacqueline and my installers had, they were able to continue on. And a lot of the customers know that Danny's a phone call away. If Jacqueline or her husband or one of the installers have a problem on a job or a big estimate they got to go do, they'll call me and I'll go help them with it. And, it's knowing that that support makes them confident, and makes me feel better knowing that everybody's taken care of. My customers, my installers, and the world was there to help me run my company for over 18 years.
But it doesn't sound like there was any exchange of money. I mean, you closed down a business, she set up a business, and you handed over a book of business, but it was because you felt that was the right thing to do. It wasn't about the money. It was about the experience your clients would continue to receive.
About the money. I mean, even a couple of my head installers, Instead of turning around and selling off half my tools, I mean, I had mixers, I had five binding machines,
Mm-hmm.
and other tools that I gave to my installers. They earned it, and if I can continue to help them, I'd spend more time trying to sell the stuff and move the stuff out of the warehouse and put in the storage. And, these guys, they made me what I am. They helped build my reputation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me. These were people that have been with me for years and years and years and deserved everything that they got. Wish I could give them more. But for me, it wasn't about the money at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was about me being happy, fiance being happy, my installers and the people who've always been there for me, that they had somewhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was still trying to give them a tool to help them with success. There's been people out there that have helped me. Why not help them?
Mm-hmm.
It's how people get through life. I can't tell you how many people that I have certified or trained or had for many years that would get out and start their own business, and people are like, well, why are you training these guys if they're just going to leave you? I was like, because it's our industry. If I can
Mm-hmm.
help our industry, that's huge. We have enough problems in our industry right now. So anything I'm going to do to help it is what I'm going to do. But as an individual, these guys have been there for me, and I got to help them, just like I've been helped.
Well, you're putting
Not always about
people.
the dollar.
Yes, and look, that message right there is you weren't worried about the dollar. Which, look, we run businesses, we need to be worried about the dollar, but the dollar is not the bottom line. And I think sometimes with this show and other podcasts in this space, like, that message gets lost because we are hung up with building the business side. But the most successful companies I see care for people. And it's not that they're not making money. They've learned how to make money, but they've learned how to put their people first. And by Danny giving away his tools and handing over this book of business and helping build up the next person to carry on this, maybe there is a legacy in the local area, right? They know that, okay, well, Danny's not around with Megs anymore, but we can go over here and we can still get the same guys, the same service, and we're going to be taken care of. And that matters more, and you're handing it down, not being worried about installers leaving. I think that's one of the biggest hangups in this industry. Oh, I'm going to teach him everything I know and he's going to run out. Well, do you want him to run out knowing what to do, or do you want him to run out not knowing what to do? And oh wait, look at the current state of the industry that you're all complaining about. It's because you weren't training them to know what to do, and now they undercut the market and they install like crap and wah. Put people first. It's just right. How do we have? We can't have a great community if we're only ever worried about ourselves. And look, it's human nature to kind of be a little selfish. But if we can work together a little bit and come together as a team and build each other up, we're all going to move forward much more successfully. And this story is exactly that. You had how many different offers come in? You had people that were encouraging and like, you know what? Hey, you worked hard. You deserve your dreams and what you want. You accomplished one. It's okay to move on to another one. And no one was mad. No one was upset. And they were happy to see you do it. But what would have happened?
Absolutely.
What would have happened had you not put them first? And it was always about $1 and getting weekends off and making them work weekends. How would this story have played out then? That's
Fortunately, I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd be sitting here on my property right now with a smile on my face.
I believe that 100%, and I don't expect you to know how it would play out, right? We don't have that crystal ball, but it's
right.
What you've done.
But we hear stories.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, but we hear some horror stories out there of other companies.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's what you've built, what you've given back, why people recognize you. I think I'd rather have that legacy than any other. That's for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I think it's kind of like, it's like Jim and Jane. It's when I got to interview Jane, and if you want to hear a great interview about like what CFI stands for, go listen to Jane talk about where it came from and how it's phenomenal. And it's another person that just, her and Jim, they wanted to invest in people, and they were able to invest in themselves by doing that. And I think that's where you're at now, is you invested in people so long that now you're able to sit there and say, I can invest in me and I get what I want. So is that where we're at? Is this Danny's golden years? Look, absolutely. You're not even that old yet, but is this the start of it?
Well, let me back up a second.
Okay.
And talk about Jim and Jane.
Please.
Jane and Jim have, for me, been amazing, and Jane helped me get my reputation out there. You know, when I first got involved with CFI, and
Uh-oh, folks. I hope we didn't lose him. We'll see what happens here. We may need to reconnect with Danny.
more of a younger generation. You know, there's a lot that our industry is still lacking, but it's growing in the right ways. Mm-hmm. So I just want to give that a shout out.
So I lost you for a second there in the middle, and you did it just completely cut out. So look, they're fabulous, right? You were saying that she helps you like build your brand and invested in you initially as you joined CFI and pushed to encourage you and move you forward. And I've seen them do nothing but that since I've met them, and just every story you hear is like them sacrificing something in their lives to better someone else because they love this industry so much and they just want to move it forward. And the impact that they've left on people, all those people that I see that they touched are all out there doing the same thing. They're trying to push the industry forward in the same way, and it's mind-boggling. Well, it's
one of the sayings that they taught me. One of the things that they teach and always have is, you know, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that was something that they taught me. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, it's the truth.
That's big. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Even coming back from coverings yesterday, there was some drama developing in an online group, and that was basically one of the messages was, you know, you can sit here and say I get favoritism or whatever because I'm involved or I've built this brand or whatever. Look, if you all want something, go get it. Don't be jealous of what I've built or what any other quote unquote influencer in this industry has done online. No one's stopping you but yourself. You may get some no's. It's no different than when you go to a client and you get a no. If you want something and you want to be sponsored by a company, or you want to work for a company, or you want a discount on a tool, or I don't know what you want, whatever it is you want, go get it and ask for it. Because you sitting here complaining that other people get favoritism or whatever, and you hating on us or being jealous or whatever it is, you're dragging everybody down with you and the appearance of this industry. Absolutely. There's no need for it. You can keep scrolling. Absolutely. You can shut your mouth. I don't care what you do, as long as you're trying to bring positivity here, because we got enough negativity. We don't need any more. But there's no reason to be jealous. Look, this brand, you all have watched me create it. Okay, it didn't exist 2.5 years ago. September 2019, at the end of September, it launched. Okay, there was here. We'll look. All right, in the entire month of September, since it was right at the end of the month, I want to say there was like 23 listens or something like that. All right, it's if my internet will work. I apologize, Danny. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but I think this is what you're talking about. September 2019, there was 23 listens because it launched at the end of the month. Okay, so my first full month, October, had 343. Last month there was 5,455 downloads on it. Okay, like it's you guys have backed me. You've watched this. Yeah, but it's taken time, but it's taken an investment. It's taken me putting myself out there and getting rejected a lot. And so don't think you can't do it. I've put effort in. A lot of people have been like, man, it's Wednesday because you see, 40 posts from Kyle in all the different groups. Well, how do you think the brand got built? I was putting in time before I had to go do an install to come back and do it. So if you want what Danny has, you want to go get 40 job offers when you decide you want to move on from your installation business from all the companies in the industry, go build a brand that's respected. But sitting behind your computer on your keyboard trashing people isn't going to get you there. There's no reason to hate. The education is out there between this podcast, the certifications you can take, the product demos you can go to, the technical lines you can call. All of it's available. I've done nothing but listen to audiobooks, other podcasts, and chat with my fellow industry veterans because they know something that I don't. So you don't have an excuse other than you're not willing to put in the effort. And that's it. So, and I think this is related to it. Like you put in the effort for years and years and years to happily be able to say, I like what I've accomplished. I'm comfortable with it. I'm happy with it. And now I want to build this new thing. So where does Danny go from here? What's besides getting your house built, which we were talking before, you're going to get some footings put in this week. Congratulations.
Soon I won't have a fiance anymore.
That I believe.
So I think I found. Yeah. I think I found my last job. Like I said, I'm at a place working with a group of guys that I love, the tools I love. So I think this is my last stop until I retire. If I retire, we'll see what happens with that. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm in a good place, loving what I do. I still get to go see the installers and talk shop with them. So that's what I want to do, and I just was fortunate enough to get involved with Wolf Tools. That makes me happy, puts me in a good spot. Yeah, again, I found the job and I found a group of people that I want to associate with and allowing me to do what I've been doing, for the last 20 years. And that's being able to go to job sites or go hang out with you guys, or, just be involved. That's what's important to me. That's what makes me happy.
So is there not that you haven't been giving back the whole time, but it sounds like there's now more time to go and invest back in the industry. So is there going to be more trainings with Danny? You're going to more NFIC, more CFI stuff, more whatever you can kind of get your hands into?
Well, it's funny you say that. Over the last year and a half, I've probably said no to being able to go and be involved in the certifications because I've been too busy doing other things. Mm-hmm. So my plan is to back involved.
Okay.
Getting out there, and whether it's in FIC or CFI training, I want to get out there and be involved, be part of it more than I had been for the last year and a half. even if it's just getting over there to hang out for the day during certification, you know. It's just what I enjoy doing. So the answer is it opens up more time for me to be involved.
What about the chapter system has kind of died off, which is a sad thing. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do in Arizona is get a group of just retailers, installers, product reps to come together once a month, and I'm holding something. Any chance you're going to try and, even though you're not in the area you were, right? You live out in the country, but there's got to be people somewhat near you. You're going to try and get anybody together? Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's somebody's got to do it. You know, and it had, you know, with COVID, and I hate using COVID as the excuse, but when you weren't able to get together, you know, it's hard to keep everybody there. But now that COVID is controlled, I guess, or wherever we are in this world with COVID now, we're allowed to socialize more. So I think you'll see a lot of the other chapters starting up again. Will I continue to be the chapter president? That's, if they want me to be, then I would be. If they want to put somebody else in there, then I have no problem stepping down because I'll still stay involved in it. Problem is, make sure somebody's going to take the initiative to get the meetings together, or to get a couple guys or girls, women, to help put it together. Yeah. You know, because one person cannot do it. Whether you create your own little board or team, or just get a bunch of different installers and say, hey, let's plan on a date and let's all advertise and we'll all come together. Because chapter meetings are fabulous, and distributors or manufacturers will support you, whether it's bringing in food or bringing in a tool or two for a giveaway, or somebody to come out and do a little training. You know, we ask around with a lot of our dealers and say, hey, what complaints are you having? What's failing? And that's what we were planning on our next chapter meetings. You know, whether it's moisture, whether it's proper seaming, or whatever it was, that would be the focus of our next chapter. Okay. I'm hoping to see more of it throughout the states, and hopefully it'll come back, because it's education and knowledge. And you know, I could talk to one guy and learn something in 5 minutes, and wow, I accomplished it, you know? So yes, we never know enough, and we're always continue learning, and there's always somebody smarter than you. Yes. So
for sure. And that's what I found, is just trying to get the few people together. The manufacturers or the retailer that's sponsoring the night are happy to throw a little something out there to help draw some people in. But just being able to go, once again, I just got back from coverings. Like, I went to surfaces, I felt energized. Like, I came back with my batteries recharged. I was able to have, like, even though the show's draining and like I'm still trying to process what I just went through this week, I'm excited to be in my industry. I'm excited to have met with people, and these little local groups that are forming, have been formed, will form in the future. Like, go out and do this, because it's an easy way to stay connected and feel re-energized on a monthly basis, as opposed to waiting once a year for surfaces to roll around, or NWFA Expo. You've got to do more. Right. It's not once a year. Like, great, go see the new tools, go see the people you don't get to see a whole lot. But I don't think if you're trying to change your local environment, then you're missing the mark. Being involved on a national level is great, but now we need to take it back, and we need to build up our local levels. So I'm excited to see what you're kind of able to do now that you've freed up some of your time, and you can get back into really being super passionate about why you're involved. And that's exciting to be able to see. So, Danny, is there anything we didn't hit on about kind of moving on from this chapter in your life and coming to terms with closing down a brand you'd built and invested in for 25 years and then moving on from that to start a new chapter.
No, I think we pretty much hit on everything. And you know, I will say those out there that if you're not happy, find something else. You know, it's your happiness, your health, a lot more important than how thick your pockets are. You know, a lot of people might not agree with that, and a lot of people think money is more important, but nah, it's not. Your happiness is.
I think that's great advice, and we'll leave it right there, folks. Your happiness matters. It's dollars are great, and they can make life easier. But if you're
Absolutely.
Absolutely, if you're not happy, you got to find something to make you happy, and take it. Look, Danny built a brand he was happy with, and he was able to walk away from it. And I think once again that's amazing to just be like, it's okay, and everyone was on board. Maybe there were a few objections, but no. I think it sounds like everybody came
Absolutely.
around to the idea and said, you know what, I respect that, and we're gonna be behind you. So I think that'll do it for us. Yep. Check out flooracademypod.com. Go ahead and you can visit the store, find some merch like the t-shirt in the background there. You can help support the show at patreon.com/flooracademy. Even $5 a month goes a long way in helping this content to continue to be created. And, if you have any feedback, episode ideas, things like that, flooracademypodcast@gmail.com. Danny, thank you so much for your insights and being willing to have this conversation. I think it's big. I think this is people need to understand that it's okay to move on from something. And as you know, we had this because I
Absolutely.
am currently struggling. So folks, like it's okay. You can move on. You don't have to be
Absolutely.
stuck where you're at. All right. I look
we
forward to
what you're doing, Kyle. You keep it up.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And I guess we will talk to you next time, Danny. We will talk soon.